Welcome to the Space in Between podcast, a series where we will talk about everything and anything mental performance in a bite-sized fashion.
I'm Sienna.
And I'm Frida.
We are both certified mental performance consultants. I'm from Ireland.
And I'm from Sweden.
On this podcast, we will share our knowledge and passion for all things sport and performance psychology, including all things mindset, exercise, sport, everyday life, and insights into how we help ourselves and the people we work with develop their mindset.
Exciting.
All right, today's topic is self-compassion is a superpower.
No, that's a good topic.
Yeah, sounds powerful.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. And today's conversation stems from a conversation that I had with a client last week. But when I think about it, it's probably a similar conversation that we both have with clients and people all the time. And it kind of comes back to how we expect maybe so much from ourselves often, and we're harder on ourselves in those expectations than we are on other people. And that can make it hard to deal with the challenges that come in sport and in life.
Most certainly. I'm sure most people can relate to this. That a lot of time you might hear someone say, I'm my worst critic.
Yeah. And we'll often talk about the negativity bias, which can make it hard to have self-compassion compared to maybe the compassion that I would have for you. You know, like a simple example is if a teammate makes a mistake, you know, we're like, well, everyone makes mistakes. That might be a common thing we say to people to reassure them. But when it comes to ourselves, maybe it's not so easy to accept that fact.
Yeah, for sure.
And something that's interesting about self-compassion is it's one of those words in the performance environment that if we hear it, you know, we might think it's a bit on the soft side compared to like mental toughness. And that's why I think it's something that is underappreciated and why it's important to talk about how and why it's a superpower, because, you know, often people will say, oh, I need to have more mental toughness. But I've never heard someone say to me in like sports psychology, I really want to develop my self-compassion.
Yeah, that's very true. And you know, before you go on with that thought, something I thought about when you mentioned mental toughness too is that most people probably have not the right idea of what it means to be mentally tough.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help either, because really mentally tough athletes, they do show self-compassion.
Yeah.
And that's a big aspect of mental toughness. But it's one of those things that we throw around that word, like grit, resilience, mental toughness, without really understanding what it means and all the components that's a part of that.
Yeah, but those are all topics for another day.
They are. So we're going to move on from that.
Yeah, so I guess first, we won't get too deep into this because this could be the podcast in itself, but what is self-compassion?
So to put it simply, it's about having the same kindness towards yourself as others, and then also realizing that we deserve the same as others. And with that too, remembering that we're all human and we have similar experiences. We're not alone with our experiences. What you feel, somebody else probably also has felt or gone through. And then lastly, you know, being present with all of this and with everything that happens around us.
Yeah, sounds pretty powerful to me.
I agree.
So then if we think about sport and performance, why would that be a superpower?
I mean, it goes back to what you said at the start. We're very fast at judging ourselves or being very disappointed or, you know, being harsh to whatever we're doing and criticizing, and more so than, you know, realizing that we can be kind towards ourselves. You know, things are not always going to be easy there. There will be challenges, you know, there will be hardships that we're going through.
Yeah, and I think, like, for me, coming back to a very simple example that I probably everyone can relate to if you play sport or in whatever performance area you have, is like you make a mistake and, you know, you're kind of kicking yourself over it. And that's natural. And, you know, we might think, and I know I've actually had someone say this, like, what do you mean I should accept my mistake? But if you think about it, when you're on that field playing, is it going to be more beneficial to have self-compassion and to be able to say, that's okay, we all make mistakes, on to the next one, and be present? Or is it going to be more helpful to keep being annoyed at yourself for the next 5 minutes next time the ball comes, you're still annoyed at yourself. You know, like that's a very clear example of how self-compassion could be and is a superpower when you're performing, if you can practice it consistently.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really good example. And I'm sure most of us can relate to that, regardless of if we're playing sports or doing anything else in life, that, we'll keep replaying those mistakes.
Yeah.
And, you said those 5 minutes. It's one of those things that sometimes we hold on to them for days,
Yeah.
months, years, depending on what it is and what area of life maybe that we're talking about here.
Yeah. And the reason that I think the word superpower is like we might think that's being pretty dramatic, isn't it? It's a good title. But I also think it's very valid because having self-compassion is really hard to do.
Yeah, it really is.
So that's what makes it a superpower. If you can get to a point where like I am actually kind to myself and I accept that I am imperfect like everyone else, then that's a superpower because it's such a difficult thing to get to that point.
Yeah.
And like we even talked about earlier, how I feel like I have self-compassion in certain areas and then there's other things that I'm not so self-compassionate about. So like it's not kind of this thing that you have and you can practice it in every area of life all the time. It might be something that you find easier to do. Like I find it easier to do in sport than I do maybe outside of sport, like in my personal life.
Yeah.
And other people might be the opposite. So that's why I think it is a superpower if we can apply it to everything that we're doing.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that because I can definitely relate to that. And when I think back on my sporting career as an athlete, I definitely could have benefited from some self-compassion when I was younger and practicing that. And I've also noticed that throughout my life, and especially with what we do now for work and like going through the education, like all of that, learning all these things, I have slowly but surely, gotten more self-compassionate with myself.
Yeah.
I have a vivid example, if you don't mind me sharing, of a moment where I think it would have been very helpful if I could practice some self-compassion. This is one of those things that I probably will never forget. And when I think about it, I remember how I felt during this game. So it was a soccer game and we got a PK. And I took the PK. And there was a lot of things that happens around this PK, right? And I can't remember what year it was now exactly, but it was during my college days in Texas. And I missed that PK. And I was so disappointed with myself. I was absolutely gutted. And that maybe, let's say that happened the first 20 minutes. I was unable to move on from that for the whole 90 minutes. And then it took me probably a solid few days to actually move on because I just kept replaying it and I felt so guilty. I had let the team down and, all of these things. I actually can't remember even if we won or lost that game, but I just felt like everything is my fault. I am the worst possible soccer player ever. Everybody hates me. And it's one of those things that's like, yeah, obviously that was shit that had happened.
Absolutely. I want you to hold that thought. Okay, so sticking with this personal example you've shared, it's easy for us to be like, self-compassion is amazing, let's all do it. So let's talk about how we can actually practice it. So if you think about that example, if that was a teammate who had missed that penalty, what would you have said to them, or how would you have acted around them after that?
I mean, if it was a teammate, I definitely would have said, it's okay, shake it off. Let's focus on the next ball. We can still do whatever, etc. Like keeping it very simple, but being like, it's all right. We all miss penalties. Things happen, and like being reassuring and understanding that it's all right.
Yeah, and like that's exactly how we can practice self-compassion, is to think about, right, well, if this was someone, a teammate or somebody I care about, a friend, what would I say to them? And saying that to ourselves, because that's the superpower, right? Because there's not always going to be someone who knows exactly what you need to hear.
Yeah.
But we can learn from those situations and, be our own biggest supporter, if you will, and help us get through those really difficult situations in sport and always in life too.
Yeah. Can you think of any other ways to practice self-compassion?
Like a really good tool, I think, and that I have done myself and when working with people, is to think about it from a third person perspective. So let's say, for example, I'm really struggling to get through something. Maybe I'm being hard on myself, like I haven't been performing well this week in training or in games. I don't know why, like what's wrong with me? Well, taking a step back and thinking about the bigger picture, okay, what are the things that I'm doing in my life right now? So maybe I have a lot on in college or in school or work. Maybe I have training every day and twice a day, and maybe it's been like that for the last 3 to 4 months. And thinking about, okay, how do I think this person would feel looking at all this stuff that they have going on? And that's not to mention the personal life, and then we can kind of see, and I've done this with clients, and they're like, well, I think that person would be really overwhelmed. Like they have so much going on and they've been doing it for a long time. Maybe we can keep that up for a week or two, but it's not sustainable long term. So then it's easier to be like, okay, it makes sense that I don't feel good this week. I am a human, like this person that you've told me about. I completely understand the situation that they're in. So by thinking about it as someone else, it can make it a bit easier to understand, like, that is really difficult. And then we can apply that to ourselves. Like, yeah, I have a lot on my plate right now, so that explains why I didn't play my best yesterday, or why I felt really tired going to training. It's not that I can't handle it or I can't perform. It's that I'm just doing too much on too many fronts right now. So that can just allow us to realize that, similar to anyone else, I can't do everything to 100% all the time.
Mm-hmm. So what if someone would answer you with, well, I should be able to perform anyway. This is just a cop-out. Well, everybody has stuff going on. Like, why can't you perform? Like, just because I'm struggling here, like, why can't I perform on the pitch?
I guess what I would say to that person is that we really have no idea what people have going on, or how intense or flexible people's schedules are. And, we're all very, very different. So it's not that it's a cop-out, it's just, and that kind of comes back to the mindful aspect of self-compassion, is like being present in, this is how I feel. It doesn't matter how Stephanie over there feels. This is what I'm going through and this is what I'm experiencing. And for whatever reason, it is impacting me in this way. So I think having self-compassion, that I know we've said everyone's experiencing the same things, but also we're all very unique. So just because me and you are doing the exact same things, let's say our days are identical, we might feel very different at the end of the day. And like, that's okay. Instead of thinking, well, if Frida can do it, I should be able to do it. Like having that, being able to not compare ourselves to others is another form of having self-compassion.
You talked about that in a really beautiful way, I thought.
I'm a poet.
Yeah, you're welcome. But the two things that I thought about when we were talking about it was, one, like with that third person perspective, is that it sounds like, like taking a step back and zooming out to see a bigger picture. Because we tend to get really bogged down on this moment right here, right now, which is also important, right? But so much that if we think about having a paper right in front of our face, the only thing you can see is the paper.
Yeah.
If I straighten out my hand and pull the paper away from my face, now I see the whole paper and I see everything around it, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I mean there, that we tend to get so stuck into it that maybe we forget the other parts, right?
So we're thinking like, oh, this is too much for me, and not seeing the things that have made it so,
Yeah, like that there's a big impact of everything. Like we're not just one thing, there's so many variables in our life. And then the other thing I thought about when you kind of mentioned mindfulness there is that acceptance bit, right? And how when we talk about acceptance, it doesn't mean that we're giving in or, like giving up or anything like that. The acceptance means that we see things for what they are, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like life goes like a roller coaster, up and down. We go through different things all the time. So showing acceptance for ourselves in these different moments, whether that is on a larger scale or when we just made a mistake in a game.
Absolutely. And I think like the last thing that I would say is important when it comes to self-compassion. We always say awareness is the first step. So becoming aware of, when am I struggling to have self-compassion? Like, when am I hard on myself? When am I holding on to things that are a part, like a normal part of the human experience, like if it's emotions, making mistakes, struggling with things, like you said, acceptance is a big part. So when am I struggling to accept how things are? Because if we become aware of those things, then we can start to be really purposeful in, okay, I'm going to be purposeful with my self-talk after I make a mistake to show self-compassion. Even if you're skeptical, just try it and see how that feels compared to holding on to it and struggling to let go. For everyone, that would be a great first step in utilizing this superpower.
Yeah, and that kind of goes with that kindness aspect too, right? So asking yourself, what do I need right now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Thanks.
I might ask myself after this.
Please do.
So at this point, we're bringing the podcast, well, the conversational part of the podcast to a close. Unless you have something else to say, Frida?
No, I don't think so.
No, you're happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a great job.
Yeah.
And now we're actually going to do a practice to help us all be a little bit more self-compassionate today. So, I mean, you'd be silly not to stick around, but if you don't have, if the environment you're in maybe won't allow you to immerse yourself in the practice, then maybe you can pause here and come back to it later. It's going to be about 10 minutes, and I'm excited. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you use it and how it impacts you.
Yeah, and we're also going to upload this self-compassion script separately on the podcast. So, even if you can't listen to it now, you can come back to it later. It will also be at the end of this one, but just to make it easy. So then it's something that you could come back to over and over again if you find it helpful.
Yeah, and we're going to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. And remember, most important thing of all, keep using the space in between. This is an opportunity for you to take some time to yourself and look inward. If you are in a place where it is appropriate to do so, you can let your eyes come to a close, or you can hold a soft gaze. Take a moment to make sure you are sitting comfortably with your feet flat on the floor and your spine stacked nice and straight. Allow your whole body to relax. Keep your eyes closed or hold that soft gaze throughout this whole practice. Without straining or trying to concentrate, let yourself relax and gently follow the instructions you hear. And now draw your attention inward. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Now, take your mind to a person close to you who loves you very much. It could be someone from the past or the present. Someone still in your life, or maybe someone who has passed. It could be a teacher, a coach, a friend, a family member, or a teammate. Imagine that person standing on your right hand side, sending you all of their love. That person is sending you wishes for your safety, for your well-being, and for your happiness. Feel the warm wishes and love coming from that person towards you. Now bring to mind the same person or another person who cherishes you deeply. Imagine that person standing on your left-hand side, sending you wishes for your wellness, for your health, and for your happiness. Feel the kindness and warmth coming to you from that person. Now imagine that you are surrounded on all sides by all the people who love you and have loved you. Picture all of your friends and loved ones surrounding you. They are sending you wishes for your happiness, for your well-being, and for your health. Allow yourself to bask in the warm wishes and love coming from all sides. Now bring your awareness back to the person standing on your right-hand side. Begin to send the love that you feel back to that person. You and this person are similar. Just like you, this person wishes to be happy and successful. Send all your love and warm wishes to this person. Repeat the following phrases silently. May you live with ease. May you be happy. May you be free from pain. May you live with ease. May you be happy. May you be free from pain. Now focus your awareness on the person standing on your left-hand side. Begin to direct the love within you to that person. Send all your love and warmth to that person. That person and you are alike. Just like you, that person wishes to have a good life. Repeat the following phrases silently. Just as I wish to, may you be safe, may you be healthy, may you live with ease and happiness. Just as I wish to, may you be safe, may you be healthy, may you live with ease and happiness. Now think of an acquaintance, someone you don't know very well, and toward whom you do not have any particular feeling. You and this person are alike in your wish to have a good life. Send all your wishes for well-being to this person. Repeat the following phrases silently. Just as I wish to, may you also live with ease and happiness. Just as I wish to, may you also live with ease and happiness. You wish wellness and happiness on all those around you, as you are compassionate and kind to all. Now bring your awareness inward. Focus on your own breath. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. And another deep breath in and let it go. Just as you wished wellness and happiness on others, you have the same compassion for yourself. Silently tell yourself, I am enough. I am worthy of my position in any room. I am strong. I wish wellness and happiness on myself. I am enough. I am worthy of my position in any room. I am strong. I wish wellness and happiness on myself. Sit with this for a moment. Believe what you are telling yourself. You deserve these well wishes. And slowly bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your stomach as you inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Notice how your body feels in this moment. Notice how you feel as we draw this practice to a close. Perhaps you can bring this feeling with you into the world. Whenever you are ready, you may open your eyes.